So I'd like to go ahead and get started for all those that have joined us and are on time today. So I want to thank everyone for joining us for our September coffee hour. And I do want to just take a minute and offer a moment of silence. Today's September 11th, and it's hard to say that it's September 11th and not think about the meaning and all that happened on this day years ago. So if everyone would just join me for a second, and we'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. So I am excited to say that we are grateful to have Noelle Akin here with us from Petitti Garden Center today. I am going to give folks just a little bit of information on how to use Zoom. So if you want to change your view, I'm not going to have this PowerPoint up for very long because we really want to see the nursery and see Noelle as she shares some gardening tips with us. But you can change your speaker view, change it to speaker view up at the top of your screen as you click on it. And if you don't see anything, just you move your mouse around, those things will pop up. But if you move your mouse around either the top or the bottom of your screen, that toolbar is going to appear, and you can really begin to, change your screen, do the things you want. Everyone's muted so that we can hear Noelle today. But if you have a question, just type it in the chat window or raise your hand. We'll have also, there's question and answers. You can type in any of those places. And I've got Sue and Lindsay and Steve on, and they're going to kind of help guide us if there are any questions, keep us on our toes. People are asking questions. So we want it to be interactive as much as possible. So, and we'll have time at the end for questions. And I also want to say, again, welcome Noelle. Noelle's the Director of Communications and Education at Petitti Garden Centers. And at the end, we're going to talk just a little bit about, I'm going to stop sharing here, a little bit about some of the things that we're going to do as a result of this today. But we will be making a contribution to Prayers for Maria on behalf of Petitti's, and we're going to encourage others to do that. And I'm going to ask Noelle to talk a little bit about that at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Noelle, to kind of take us on a tour and share some information about gardening and the fall and how wonderful it is right now to be at Petitti's and looking at all those beautiful flowers.
Great. So everyone, I'm in the greenhouse right now at our Oakwood Village location. And Lynn and I were talking earlier about how wonderful it is to garden in the fall. And really there's three main reasons why fall gardening is really great and planting at this time of year is really wonderful. And first, it's because of the warm soil temperatures. So your soil is very warm at this time of year. So if you are seeding grass, new lawn patches, if you are planting perennials, like let's say black-eyed Susan seeds or hollyhocks, those will germinate and come up and be beautiful, winter over fine, be beautiful for next year. If you're thinking about transplanting and dividing plant material right now, we always say spring blooming plants can get transplanted and divided in the fall. Think about doing that right now. It's a great time to do that. Summer bloomers, even your daylilies, your hosta, your hydrangeas, those can all be dug, divided, moved in the fall. So all of these things are, that warm soil temperature helps those roots develop very, very quickly. So that's always really good. And then also, the second thing is going to be your air temperature. So when the air temperature is cooler, especially in the evening, it cools down. And then we have these beautiful sunny days and it cools down. The plants love that because they're producing energy. They're working on the root systems. They're getting established, but then they get a break in the evening and they get to just relax and rest. So that's really good too. And the third reason it's great to plant at this time of year is typically rainfall increases in the fall. So you don't have to water as much and your water bill won't be through the roof like it has been all summer. So that's always a really good thing to remember. I'm going to walk you through the greenhouse here. I have some annuals, just like some fall color. And this one's a real new one for us that we've been sort of playing with. And I'm going to show you an kind of a close-up here, if I can get real close. And these are a new type of petunia hybrid. They are a petunia slash calibrachoa, which is what we call a miniature petunia or a million bell. And these guys are bred to handle cold. So their cold tolerance is down to 28 degrees. They are a long-lasting, vigorous, self-cleaning type of petunia that you would normally grow during the summer, but these are very well suited for those cooler temperatures in fall. So if your summer petunias are looking a little rough, are starting to kind of give up the show here, you might want to try something like this. So this mixture that I'm showing you, the colors here are cinnamon and vanilla and caramel. This is called the bonfire mix, appropriately named. And needless to say, they are great little petunias. They will give you some color way into November in our area. So that's something new that we're trying this year. Couple other things that I wanted to show you that I really enjoy and have a lot of fun with at this time. I'm going to show you this celosia. And this is actually, I want to make sure I get a good picture of it. This is dragon's breast celosia, and this is an annual flower as well. But celosia is such a cool plant because it's an heirloom plant. And what it does is they tend to dry right there on the stalk, and they can be left out all fall. There's a couple different varieties here. The one's dragon breath. This one actually is called intense purple. And what's neat about them is that they give you that upright, real showy color for fall. They combine well with the mums, the petunias that I was just showing you, that petcoa. They do really, really well with all of your fall perennials. What's neat about them is if we have a mild winter, they'll reseed themselves and develop more next year. But you can also dry those flowers and harvest the seeds if you want to, and then you can actually sow them next year in the garden and they'll come up no problem. So really, really great plants just to combine with those mums. And Lynn was saying earlier, we've got mums all over the greenhouse. Fall mums, for those of you that don't know, fall mums have gone through a lot of different breeding conditions in the last, I would say, decade or so, where they have been bred to be very, very easy, very compact, very colorful. However, the one problem is they've lost their hardiness, cold hardiness, that is. So if you want a mum to come back for you year after year, you want to get them planted as soon as possible. They need 4 to 8 weeks, that's really on the mild side, to 8 weeks to really root in and establish themselves. So needless to say, get your mums in the ground and planted as soon as possible, if that's what you want to do, if you want them to perennialize over. If you don't mind and you just want them to be fall color, not a problem. They'll do that for you. Most mums will probably bloom for about 6 to 8 weeks. And when you're picking them, come in and pick them. The longer they'll last if you pick them when they're nice and tight budded like this. See how there's just a small percentage of full flowers open? That's how you want to pick them. So when they're tightly budded like that, you've got a good 6 to 8 weeks, unless it's super, super hot through the fall, and then they might flower, and bloom out for you. But other than that, they do really, really nicely. So get those in the ground as soon as possible. I'm also going to show you another favorite that I have here in the greenhouse. And let me pick up, here we go. I'm going to try to find, here we go. This is a cute little ornamental pepper. This is called sangria. And basically sangria, with these peppers, they are they are meant to be ornamental. You can eat them. However, most of them are hot, extremely, extremely hot. So just be aware, be very careful when you're handling them. But they make cute little accent plants in container gardens. And then when it does get colder outside, let's say end of October, you can bring them in and grow them on a windowsill. You've got to have a sunny windowsill, and they will make nice little cute little house plants for you. But there are all different colors and sizes. So I'm just going to pan through really quick, and you can see just all those different peppers. Those are a neat one, just like I said, to give you a little bit of accent in a container garden. Oh, what was the name of the petunias you showed at the beginning? They're called Petcoa Super Cal, okay, bonfire mix. And you'll see those, we carry those at Petitti's in hanging baskets and also in patio containers. So yeah, they're really fun. Here, there's one more, and I love this one. This is Black Pearl. It's a dark purple leaf and kind of black and red fruit there too. Okay, and I'm going to run over to the asters. So these are really great. There are lots of different aster varieties. Can everybody see those? This one's a doubled aster. These are called Henry, and you'll see Henry in purple and blue typically. And these asters are what we call New England asters. They're late season bloomers, just like your fall mums. And what's great about asters is they are awesome pollinator plants. So if you can plant an aster, you'll really make pollinators happy. Butterflies, bees as well. Not so much the hummingbirds, but the butterflies and the bees, they love them. So do try these. And these are hardy asters. We put them with the mums just because they make such nice complements of each other, but they're very, very cold hardy. So if you're looking for that hardy, late blooming perennial, I would definitely try that. I'm gonna come on the violas really quick here, and we'll see. I got a customer right here, so I have to be careful. Violas. And what I love about them is that they are the smaller flowering type of pansy, if you will. A pansy is just a large flowering type. The viola is a smaller flowering type. However, violas are a little bit better returners in the garden, meaning that the smaller flower has a little bit more energy to produce more seed, and therefore they can reseed themselves. What would be, I'm sorry, I missed that question. So needless to say, they're really, really fun. They love the cold weather. So this is the time to plant them. Fall, winter, and spring, you can enjoy violas and pansies, and really they will winter over very nicely. And if they're covered by the snow, you can tell they go down a little bit, but as soon as the snow melts, they pop right back up. So this is really the time. If you've always planted pansies and violas in the spring and could just enjoy them for that one spring season until it got hot in the summer, this is the time to really plant them because you can enjoy them for a much longer period of time.
Noelle, the question that was out there was, what would be a colorful indoor plant? I have a sunroom that is heated and gets lots of sun.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you could do anything from your like tropical hibiscus, your mandevillas, your bromeliads. I'm kind of opposite of where the houseplants are, but we can run over there really quick at the end here too. But there's lots of options for colorful, nice sunroom areas. I'm going to tell you what's really popular right now. The bromeliads and the anthurium or flamingo flower, super popular, long lasting color, easy care. I mean, those two plants have been at the top of the color list for a long time. They're really, really easy.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Sure. I'm gonna hop outside. I'm just around some customers. Let me go out this way. And I wanted to show you one of my fall favorites here. They're so cool. Here we go. Can you see these at all? Am I showing this? No, I'm not showing it. I got to do it with one hand and show with the other hand because they don't put it in the camera the right way.
There you go. You can see them. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's centered. We
So
can
that's
see
your,
very well.
yeah,
Yeah.
your ornamental kale is right here. This is a purple ornamental kale, okay? And right now, they're kind of, as I pan over, you'll see they just look like normal green cabbage or green kale. The purples are a little bit more colorful. But I'm going to tell you, they don't color up until it's way cooler in the evening. So in October, November, and that's when they really come into their heyday, where those veins in the leaves really brighten up and look awesome. And I always recommend keeping these even past fall, like when we get closer to Thanksgiving and even into the holidays, where you're cleaning out those pots and you can arrange branches and evergreen boughs in the pots. Keep your cabbage in there and your kale in there in those pots because they'll last all winter long. They'll look fantastic. I like to plant them with the pansies and violas. They'll give you color. They'll stay in the garden. They'll stay in a pot, no problem, outside over the winter. And it just provides you with great color all winter long. I will tell you in the spring, because a lot of people think that they're going to come back in the spring. They don't. They yellow, they die back. So you'll want to clean them out and put something new in there for the spring. But other than that, they're just awesome plants for the fall. So we enjoy those a lot.
Thank you.
Let me go this way. Sure. I'm going to show you the pansies really quick. And of course, just larger flower. So they do not return as well in the garden, but they're just so fragrant and so lovely at this time of year. So they're looking wonderful right now. They were super happy the last couple of days with this cloud cover and how cool it's been in the evening. So that's always been really great. And let me move. I was going to move over to, I just wanted to show you some of the grasses too. I've kind of moved out into the perennial area here. And like I said, still a great time to plant perennials. Most of these will establish pretty quickly. But I wanted to show you the sedum family. And then the grasses right behind them.
Oh, they look so pretty together.
Oh my gosh, yes. Sedum and grasses look gorgeous together and they do such a nice show out in the landscape. It's just a great combo to put together. And then I'm gonna walk over this way and I'll show you a couple other kind of combinations that we have.
Noelle, can you talk about the grasses for a minute? I usually
sure.
have a lot of them, and I usually cut them down in this like around April. What do you recommend? Should they be cut down in the winter, or what's the best thing to do? They're so pretty.
So Lynn, you're doing the right thing. So grasses were initially developed as a landscape plant for landscapers, okay, to install because they're such low maintenance, okay? They require very little, soil improvement. They require very little fertilizer. In fact, they really don't need any at all. The one thing that you do want to do is you want to cut them back in the spring, early spring, because all grasses, what they do is they try to grow on new growth. And if you leave the old growth up too long, they get stunted because they try to push up through that old woody material and they have a really hard time doing that. So yes, leave them up winter for winter. If you have grasses that are a little bit floppy, you can tie some twine, some, kind of decorative ribbon or what have you around them, make them kind of look like a haystack. But then, go ahead. That's great because they're tied. And so when you go and cut them down in the early spring, they're ready to go. You take that bundle and you just go ahead and compost or pitch or what have you. and that always works really, really well. I wanted to show you these cute little guys. This is one of my favorites. So we've got, I'm gonna flip this. We've got a really pretty blue fescue, and this one's called Beyond Blue. And then right behind it is Little Bunny. So Little Bunny are these little cattails right here. And then look at this one. This one's red bloodgrass, what they call red baron. And it's just so pretty.
I've got all three of those. I love them.
Oh yeah. So easy, deer resistant. I mean, awesome, 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 awesome. I wanted to show you one of my favorite ground covers at this time of year. And this is called perennial leadwort.
Oh,
and if you can see it, those bright blue flowers, there are not a lot of plants out there that have that bright electric blue color. And then the foliage turns red for the fall. So it really has this beautiful contrast. It's green most of the year as a ground cover, but boy, late summer, fall, it really puts on a show. And it's called leadwort because it is really tough as lead. It is very, very, very easy going in the garden. You can grow it just about anywhere. It colors up better in the sun. You can put it in the shade and it will grow. But I'm telling you, it's just an easy plant.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, we, gosh, lots of color out here as well, folks. I don't want to overwhelm you, but we have butterfly bush galore and asters and butterfly weed. And we're starting to see a lot of monarchs out here in the garden center. I was going to try to track this pink plant is called Agastaki. It's making the bees very, very happy. It's in the mint family. It smells wonderful. It has a lot of nectar. There's lots of colors in Agastaki as well. And you can see the bees are really, really happy with this plant family. But it has really colored up and looks gorgeous right now too. So
is that one that just flowers in the fall, or is it also?
No, Agastaki is kind of new in the perennial world, if you will. It's called false Aesop. If you've ever heard of that herb, Aesop, Hyssop. And it is just a really good bloomer in the mint family. Any plant in the mint family is going to be attractive to pollinators. It has that subtle mint fragrance, good grower, repeat bloomer. And it comes in all different colors. So it's really a cool plant. Let me see what else. It's so funny because my perennial manager down at the Oakwood store, Stella, she's like, can you tell me when you're coming down so I can kind of refresh, fluff up plant material? But she always has it looking really good over here.
How many locations does Petitti's have right now?
We have, oh my gosh, we have 9 locations.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Through Northeast Ohio. So yeah, very, very busy. They are still very busy. This is Sweet Autumn Clematis.
Oh, I have that too. It's so pretty.
Yeah. Oh gosh, this is one of your best fragrant clematis. A really good grower can cover an arbor, can cover a full trellis, no problem. Yep. And what I love about this clematis, it's so late blooming that you cut it down to the ground in early spring and it fills all back up again and does its job. So it's, if you need some late season fragrance or you need that white, punch of color at this time of year, it's a great plant. It's just so easy to grow.
And that's one you should leave up through the winter as well. Don't cut it down till spring.
Oh my gosh, yes. You know why we leave clematis up during the winter is because it'll provide shelter for a lot of your songbirds. The other thing that we really, we try to tell customers, clematis will tell you where to cut it back. So let it die back naturally. And then in the springtime, when you approach it and you see new growth flush out, it might flush out at the base like Sweet Autumn does. And when it flushes out at the base, it's telling you just cut the whole thing down, cut it right down to where that new growth is. Some of the other clematis, like the spring blooming type, they tend to flush out all the way through their vine. So you're really just, removing some winter damage here and there, but
Okay.
you're not cutting that entire clematis down. So that plant will tell you where to prune it. It's kind of the same thing with hydrangea, if you will. And I probably shouldn't leave the hydrangea family out.
Oh,
I gotta like run into the nursery.
those are my
Lynn, how are we
favorite.
doing time wise?
It is 11:26, so we're good.
Okay. Okay. Let me just run into the nursery really quick. And I do want to show you most of the panicle hydrangeas right now are the ones that look absolutely gorgeous. And it doesn't matter when you cut them, really. So we usually say cut them down in the spring, when they're starting to flush out. And these are the ones that you just cut back into a round like basketball or beach ball shape. And they're looking gorgeous right now.
They are.
And they're the ones that are also the most sun tolerant. They are super cold hardy. They do a great job for us. Different variety here. I'll show you really quick. Look at how big these flowers are. They're probably 18 inches long. So, but those right now, again, very, very easy care. I would say for anybody that's a beginner that wants to get started with hydrangeas, you start with a panicle type because it's so tolerant, way more tolerant than any of the other varieties. And then you can kind of move in to some of the other hydrangea families out there. But yeah, they're just so pretty right now.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, so I was saying before about the clematis, hydrangea, and roses. If you just let them die back naturally and you wait for the spring to kind of show you where they're producing new growth, that's where you cut down to. So you don't have to wonder, how far do I cut? Where do I cut? You just let the plant show you, and then you go ahead and you cut down to just above where that new growth is forming. And that's really a good just rule of thumb to keep in mind. Panicle hydrangeas are different because you can cut them back really, really hard and they fill out and do their thing. Some of the easy care roses, like knockout roses, those you can cut back really hard and they'll just fill it out again and do their thing. So, we never really worry about those too much. But any of your hybrid teas or, floribundas, that's something that's a little bit more delicate, I would say. That's what you want to make sure that you're taking care of. So
I could spend a day with you just to know how to take better care of my plants. They're such an investment, right? All the time and effort you spend.
Absolutely. But I think, the goal is to enjoy the garden, right? And, you'll find lots of plants that we enjoy in the garden. They're being bred to be a little bit more lower maintenance, which is great. So you can enjoy them more. You're still out there, you're still maintaining and, trimming and picking and what have you, but there's still a lot of that's been improved, which is nice as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. And then Lynn, I think what I was going to do is just kind of walk into houseplants really quick.
Okay.
And I was going to show whoever asked the question, I'll go in here and show them just some beautiful, it's amazing how houseplants have changed just in the last 5 years. You see varieties that you've never seen before. Let me go this way.
And they always have such beautiful patio furniture in there as well. Oh, look at all the orchids too. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, so you see the orchids? Yeah.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Can you see the bromeliads there?
Yes, we can. They're so pretty.
Pink, yellow, reds. Typically, we're kind of low right now, but I wanted to show everybody. This is actually the flower. It's very small. Can you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the flowers on bromeliads are very small. Well, these are bracts. Okay. And so the bracts are really the colorful part of this plant. And bracts can stay colorful for, months at a time. So we're talking 9 months, 12 months, even longer. And then when bromeliads start to develop, they actually develop side shoots or babies. So you cut the parent plant back and the baby starts to develop. So they're really a plant that kind of keeps on giving. And then the anthurium are right next door. So I'm just going to show those really quick too.
And Noelle, she said she has a lot of sun in that room. Are these all pretty tolerant of the sun?
Yes, absolutely. So, your sunny plants are always going to be flowering, okay? Also have very, very bright colors to their foliage. Your shade tolerant plants are going to be a little bit darker, more mixtures of green. And then also at Petitti's, if you come in and shop with us, I'm just going to show you really quick. You'll always see signs, that will tell you like bright light plants are right here on this table for sunrooms, breakfast rooms, windowsills, everything like that too. So you can come in, find what you want, and all of these would do very well for them.
And staff are always so helpful. I know, always giving me advice about things I don't know. I'm planning something in the wrong place or never good.
Yeah, please.
We do have
we're
a
here
question.
to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question from Steve says, I have an overgrown burning bush. When should I cut it back, in the fall or
It's the spring. So burning bush are real particular about when to cut back. And Angelo will usually, if you listen to Angelo's radio show, you can catch him on Saturday mornings from 8 to 9 on WTAM. And it's through the growing season. And when we come back on the air, usually around the beginning of March, he'll start to mention when you should look for that. Burning bush produce a small little bud that looks like a bead. And when those beads start to swell and they just start, like the leaves just look like they're starting to come out, that's when you should prune it. Don't prune it any other time of the year, or it looks sickly and leggy, and it just never turns out well. So pruning it for height is different from trimming. Burning bush can usually take, maybe a couple inches trimmed off during the growing season. But typically pruning for height, you want to do that in March, usually like mid to late March, typically.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
So much to know.
It's helpful because everybody grows them around here, and they do get big. They're not a small plant at all. Right. And so you need to know when to do that for sure.
Yeah. Before we wrap up today, Noelle, and thank you. I could listen to you all day, and that's so informative. And I love looking at all those plants. I think a trip to Petitti's this weekend's in store. Can you tell us a little bit about, on behalf of Petitti's, I mentioned in the beginning that we're going to make a contribution to Prayers for Maria. And I know you all have had a long relationship with them as well. And in fact, the one field in Avon is right next to the garden center there, right off I-90. If you haven't been there, it's so beautiful. Can you share a little bit about the story behind the sunflower fields and Prayers for Maria?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So Prayers for Maria started out of, a family that lost their daughter to glioma, which is like a brain cancer. And they decided to start this sunflower field as a tribute to the daughter. And they're a lovely local family. And all of the sunflower field they plant every year. They're very, very lucky that they still have field property in Avon, off of Chester Road there. But they also have a new field. It's only 2 years old, and it's over at Cedar Point. And the whole idea was to just grow a field of hope. And every year they collect the sunflower seeds. They use them as feed. They reseed the field as well. They have packets of seeds for sale. they're doing so many nice things for local families, and families all over the world actually have contacted them. You can dedicate a flower to prayer, or a sunflower to someone through Prayers from Maria. They're a wonderful local charitable group that is still putting all their proceeds into more research. They have profiles of doctors on their website. They have merchandise that you can purchase, and all the proceeds go directly to Prayers for Maria. And so Petitti's, we support them. We have Prayers for Maria items in store. Again, all the proceeds go directly to them. But we have been supporting them for quite a few years now. And I'm just going to kind of show you really quick. We do help them out in lots of different ways, but they're just a wonderful group. And I was going to say, our purchases, we will ask for a donation to Prayers for Maria in the months of August, September, and October. Yes. Where we'll ask customers if they want to round up their purchase to support Prayers for Maria. So it's a great local charity. It's just wonderful.
It is, and they're such an incredible family. So we encourage others to take a look at their website, and if they feel a need, and maybe make a contribution. It's such a wonderful cause, and it's turned a tragedy into such meaningful things for everybody. We have a couple more questions. Do you have a few more minutes?
Sure, I can. Yeah, let me. I'm going to hide back behind the tropical plants.
Okay. Sure. You can use them as your backdrop.
Yeah.
2 questions. When and how to prune rhododendron, and the other one is, what are your suggestions for closing raised beds for the fall?
Okay. So the rhododendrons are really easy. With any spring blooming flowering shrub, okay? Doesn't matter if it's a rhododendron, an azalea, a lilac, a forsythia. You always prune immediately after they are finished blooming. Okay. Don't wait, just do it. Lots of times I'll have customers say, well, I haven't pruned it yet. And I'm just, you just never know when you're going to cut into new bud development. So all of those plants develop buds. Basically, after they're done blooming, they start putting energy to develop new buds, and then those buds winter over on the stems of the rhododendron for the next spring, okay? So if you can get out there as soon as they're done blooming, you go and you prune. Always prune back to green growth, new growth, side shoots where you see them developing. That's what you want to do. Never prune down to where you see brown wood with no active green growth. You will not get new stems or new growth from that area, okay? But it's always immediately when they're finished blooming, get out there and do it. Make sure you have clean pruning tools. So always clean your pruners off with rubbing alcohol, and go ahead and go after them. And I'd say probably not removing more than 50% of the limbs. That also helps. Like 50% of the plant material, I wouldn't remove any more than that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The other one was suggestions for closing raised beds for the fall.
Yeah, so raised bed garden, vegetable garden, victory gardens have been really popular this year. It's been fantastic, activity for everybody. And so I would say as the plants slowly die back or stop producing, you can go ahead and just kind of, pull, dig, whatever you want to do. And then what we normally will recommend is actually seeding a winter wheat in the bed. What this does is it is a grass, okay? It germinates quickly, again, because the fall and, the raised bed is warm. So it'll germinate quickly. It'll probably grow, let's say 10 to 12 inches tall. You let it grow and then you let it die back. So it's going to brown out, kind of like wheat does. And then the next thing you do in the spring is you go ahead, cut it all, like weed whip it, and then go ahead and turn it into the garden. If you have a rototiller, great. If you don't, you just kind of dig and turn. What this does is it's basically called a winter mulch, or sometimes they call it a green manure crop. And what it does is it adds nitrogen to the soil naturally, which is awesome. And the other thing is it adds tilth to the soil. So you've got a natural decomposing composted product right there that you can put right into the soil. And I would say it doesn't take very long, maybe 2 to 3 years of using that each year in the fall, you will notice a huge difference in how your soil feels, how it grows. It's a great plant to grow, if you will. So winter wheat is what you're looking for. Winter rye works well too if you see winter rye. But both of those are just great green manures. They're awesome cover crops. They keep the weeds out of your garden over the winter, so that's really good too.
Good. And do you sell that at the store? Is that available?
I even want to run over there. I don't know if it's available just yet, but it usually is at this time of year. But like everything else, the demand is far outweighed the supply. So I'm going to run over there really, really quick since I'm nearby and see if I can.
What's your background? How do you know all that you do?
Well, my degree's in biology, but I studied plants. So, yep, winter wheat is here, guys. I'll show you what that looks like.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and it does. It looks like just little wheat seeds, if you will. And yeah, as soon as you clean the garden out, you just go ahead and sprinkle it down, water it in, let it grow up, and your instinct is going to be like, oh gosh, why did I get this grass to grow in my raised bed? But overall, you will absolutely love it.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm going to try that.
Welcome. Good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions. I don't see anything more in the chat box or the questions at this point, but we so appreciate your time today. This was really fascinating. I loved it. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. And thank you for your time today, Noelle, and all of your expertise.
Oh my gosh, thank you very much. And yeah, have a great weekend. Everybody be safe and, keep gardening. There's still just lots to do and lots to enjoy outside.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as we're at home, we might as well be doing that, right?
Yeah. And Lynn, may I add a lot of things that we talked about today, petittigardencenter.com. We have a lot of resources, garden guides. Our fall plants are up there on our online store. So you're going to see a lot of these things if you come and visit our website as well. And we do have online shopping available now.
Okay.
So that's kind of a new thing for us this fall. And yeah, so lots of resources there.
And you're always on the news too, right? There's some gardening segments and
yes, absolutely. So Channel 3, Channel 5, Fox 8, the Petitti family and myself, we're out and about quite a bit.
Absolutely. I always enjoy that. And I always enjoy listening to other people's questions of things I would never even have thought to ask about my own gardening. So great. I feel enlightened today and I appreciate your time. Thank you. And thanks to everybody for joining us today. And we hope you'll join us again October 9th, I believe, is our next coffee hour. And it's going to be a totally different focus on finance. And we have our CFO, Karen Graham, our actuary, Brad Paulus, and our auditor, Bernadette O'Toole. So the total turnaround from gardening, but we'll be focused on finance and important of investment in a long-term care plan such as Kendal at Home. So thanks again, Noelle. We appreciate your time today and look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Thanks everybody for joining us.